Alright, video. Kind of two subjects, but it's kind of one subject. So, I did see a video. It's kind of poorly produced or whatever. Michiai Cuckoo and Dawkins. And they were debating religious folk, and so I guess they gave the agnostics a podium also. And so this is apparently one of the agnostic douchebags making this idiotic argument that, it's wrong to be fundamentalist atheist, that you can't prove the non-existence of God. And I would say that, yes, you can, beyond reasonable doubt. You can prove beyond reasonable doubt that religion's a fable. It has no more credibility than Sasquatch, the boogeyman, UFOs, reptilians, peaceful Muslims, any kind of ludicrous theory of nonsense, rubbish, bullshit. And, that's so that the proof is in the fact of the quality of the evidence. And even went so far as the douchebag to say something about science can't say anything on the subject. Fuck you, you're an idiot. You're a lousy scientist. You self-promoting weasel. Ugh. String theory is going to unify the universe and to prove everything. Now that's my specialty, except I'm not even on the Wikipedia page on the subject of string theory. That's because I've made absolutely no contribution on the subject. Where did this jackass come from? Oh, that's right. The most psychotic lunatic of all time in terms of physicists, whatever his name was. Sasquatch. What the fuck was it? Teller. Edward Teller. Right-wing loony as you get. That's his mentor. I'm really growing a passionate hatred for this little fuck. Anyway, speaking of hateable fucks, so we're just back to the same bullshit. We've been over this subject 5 million times. I have no help for you. I've said these things. There's a non-starter premise of yours that you will not acknowledge the existence of pain and suffering in the universe and think it only happens to personalities and they somehow don't exist in the universe and it's not a real event. That somehow your sensations are somehow different or better than other people's sensation or other animal sensations. I said there's no foundation for a conversation because I don't believe those are reasonable beliefs. I think it's preposterously unreasonable for you to deny the edifying knowledge we gain through being sentient of what it is to be sentient. It is a real event, real experiences happen, we can understand those experiences. I shouldn't have to go into any elaborate discussion about brain functions to make that statement. Most people, I think, can understand there's a difference between a thought and a feeling. Now, thoughts can cause feelings and feelings can cause thoughts, but the two things are not the same. Now, if I scientifically observe there to be a relationship between the diameter of a circle and the length of its circumference, that observation is of a reality. When I observe that there is a phenomenon in the universe called sensation, it happens in brains when they gain a certain level of complexity, and that I have, through personal experience of having sensations, recognize that these sensations have this positive and negative value, decidedly negative and decidedly less negative, by a factor of 1,000,000,000 to 1. I've observed it, I've experienced it, I've been edified by that experience. Now somebody says the word pain, I don't feel pain. I understand the concept of pain. Thinking means conceptions. It means you understand something as a concept. And you logically, that's the quality of thinking is dependent on the quality of the logic, where the quality of a feeling is dependent on the quality of the sensations, negative, less negative. That's the premise. Now, if you can't accept that premise, there's no ground for conversation. These are not observations about reality that I can't possibly indulge in your silly voodoo, whatever it is, crap. Your Sasquatch stories of reality, where somehow, because I have feelings personally, that means they didn't actually happen in Inmendham, in New Jersey, in America, on planet Earth, in the year 2016. They did, just like a diameter is a diameter of a circle. It's a fact. It's not some personal to the circle. The diameter of the circle is not personal to the circle. It's a concept diameter. Feelings is a concept. It happens. I mean, like I said, this is too... why should I even invest in somebody who's too stupid to have been edified by sensations and being able to recognize that they are not special beings from other worlds, and that the other animals aren't completely different and having completely different value experiences. So when I think about what it is to feel, that's what I'm doing. I'm thinking about it. I'm not feeling about it. I'm thinking about it. And I'm merely recognizing the relationship between torture and less torture, and understanding how it's better for there to be less torture. Less torture is the preferable state of being. That it is a scale. The scale has a real negative territory, meaning it consumes any positive value. It's like in a monetary system, it's the difference between profit and debt. It's a real concept, not a fake concept. It's like the difference between dry and humid. It's not the same thing. It's not irrelevant. They're not all the same. The diameter is not the circumference. They are different things. So when I logically recognize that I have feelings, they did happen, they do happen, they will happen, that other people have the same functioning device, the same soda machine, they're producing the same things, the same experiences in general quality. The relationship between one big circle and one little circle, between the diameter and the circumference, is the same. The value meaning of torture is the same, whether it's me or it's them. And I understand that. I don't feel it. I understand it. Now, thinking or talking about torture and suffering may make me feel something unpleasant. It may cause unpleasant sensations because the words are tied to images and memories inside of my brain that will trigger negative feeling responses. That doesn't mean I can't think anymore. It doesn't mean I'm incapable of conversation about what actually took place. So anyway, I've already done this video. It's just preposterously obnoxious for you to play this game over and over again as if I don't understand your point. Your point is that you wish to annihilate the reality of the negative value of a sentient being being tortured. I don't believe that's possible rationally or reasonably. I don't believe you have any evidence, any reason a rational mind could use to make that reasonable. There's no evidence for me, from my personal experience with sensations, from everything I've ever observed, to think it is not substantially meaningful what state or quality of experience a sentient is enduring. It's the only thing in the universe that actually does have any meaning, significance. Everything else is insignificant. And it can only be significant based on how it affects feeling creatures. I mean, it's just, Skyzer and Carla the Kook. So, I mean, just to read this comment will be enough to just say, why you can't have conversations with these lunatics. Inmendham is right that it doesn't matter if someone doesn't get born. That's no harm done by not procreating. But he isn't right, and therefore there would be an ethical imperative to create procreation. No sense out of that. That's because ethics is just a social construct. So again, the argument is that there is no real relationship that we observe between diameters and circumferences. It's fake. There's no real relationship. So if I make the comparison and say there's a real relationship between the production of value and sentient experience, that sentient experiences are the production of a value event. And I'm deducing that based on, yes, the fact that I've personally tasted sentience, and there's just no doubt about it. If I had to spend an eternity in two ways, I know I'd rather do it in pleasure than in horrible suffering. No way to mistake those two things. No way to mistake cupcake with nail in the eye. Just no way to do that. No rational, reasonable way could I ever contrive a reason to say, with all else remaining equal, yes, give me nail in the eye forever. Which I have a biological basis. They're just social constructs. Something humans invented. So again, we invented the idea, okay, that pain and suffering is bad and that pleasure is good, or less bad. That's an invention. It's not a physical function. It's not what we actually do in producing sensations. No, we just invented the idea that torture is bad. It's not really intrinsically and fundamentally a bad thing. Having torturous sensations is just the same as having pleasurable sensations. No qualitative difference of any reality. We just invented that idea. So, I mean, it's just an unreasonable premise. I cannot have a conversation with people with unreasonable premises, and that premise is a 900-foot Sasquatch. It's not going to fit into any rational theory of reality. Not something that is real. There is a moral feeling and moral psychology, and so, yes, but there's no such thing as logical minds, which have a biological basis. But those only served as a social control mechanism that was evolutionarily adaptive. Well, the whole point of being evolutionary adaptive is doing logic, is to being able to step out of those emotional reactions and to deduce whether there's really anything to be afraid of. Like you see a wiggling thing on the ground, and what is the human allowed to do because of this intelligence? Well, he's allowed to calculate, okay, it is a snake, but it's not a big snake. And it's one with a little thin head, and it's able to figure out this is something I should be afraid of, or this is something afraid of me. And we can do that with logic. We do that with knowledge. We don't do that with feelings. You are an idiot. And there was evolutionary adaptive and doesn't refer to anything else. Well, you're just wrong. The whole point of having intelligence is to do individual adaptations, in the sense that they're not permanent adaptations. They give you the capacity to adjust to individual circumstances in a general context of realities and knowledge that you can glean. And it was the knowledge acquisition that was the value of intelligence, and that's why learning is one of the most fundamental mechanisms, and that's why mimicry is one of the fundamental mechanisms of human psychology. It's like pain and pleasure, just a biological mechanism. Yeah, well, it's not just a biological mechanism in the sense that you can just say it is absolutely nothing but some sort of blah 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 blah, and we don't have to pay any attention. The quality of the sensations has nothing to do with logic, reasoning, understanding, facts. You, in fact, do not care. Even if you burn your hand on the stove, you will say, I don't really care. Give me more pain. I mean, I have to think of something that has no physical damage but just causes pain, and that you will not learn from that experience not to do those things because it is negative, it is unpleasant, and it's the sensation you're avoiding, not the event, the sensation. Just a biological mechanism that controls the organism. Moral feelings like shame. Who cares? Again, morality. I never speak of the word. So again, lie about other people's position. Liar. Moral feelings like shame, guilt, etc. are programmable by society. They're induced by understanding. And understanding that what the difference is between fairness and honor and cheating. And so I've already explained this, but it has to do with that whole alpha thing. You can't be an alpha and be a cheater. Just won't happen. And served as a social control mechanism. No, it served as a mechanism that allowed us to be rational organisms instead of irrational organisms. But anyway, you're just too fucking stupid. Let's see. Oh yeah, well whatever. The astonishing agnostic. So again, an idiot who can't figure out that God is not a reasonable belief beyond a reasonable doubt. There's really no doubt that we have plenty of evidence that there is no God. Plenty of evidence that it's just a story like Hansel and Gretel. Are you agnostic on the existence of Goldilocks? Are you agnostic on my theory that Bugs Bunny really lives in Hollywood in a mansion and a yacht? Are you agnostic on those statements of fact? Proposed statements of fact? No, you're not. So you're just a silly person who wants to placate silly ideas. So it's you who needs the mocking asswipe. Let's see. Oh, Skyzer just keeps talking about drinking. Yeah, well, that's all you got, buddy. You are a loser, so you might as well get yourself all the way into the gutter. Where you belong, by the way, no doubt about it. So anyway, I don't know if there's any point in playing this. Like I said, I got to this, whatever. First he does this typical crap. He plays other people's videos, trying to make, so this asshole's making the point that, well, without consensus, there's no truth. Well, that's absolute bullshit. That's a known fallacy, the fallacy of popularity. Popularity of an idea has nothing to do with its merit. Its merit is seen in its construction and the premises for which it's made out of. If your premise is that stories that are 2,000 years old are likely to be true, then you're an idiot. A preposterous idiot. Then some other crap, and, and then this is the part where he gets to the, I don't think you're understanding my argument. Well, no, I do understand it. I'm saying it's ludicrous. You are attempting to deny the factual, actual event called feelings, and to say they aren't what we experience. You're trying to tell me there's no difference between a cupcake and a nail in my eye, and that's ludicrous. As ludicrous as telling me there's no relationship between the diameter of a circle and its circumference. There is a relationship.
Now, if he has nothing concrete to offer other than it creates...
No, other than I've personally experienced sensations. That's my concrete. I am the personal witness. I saw it, crazy fucker. I've personally experienced feelings. There. I don't need any more evidence of what feelings are. I've had them. And there's absolutely no evidence that I am dramatically different than anybody else, because I see everybody else reacting exactly how I would in their circumstance. Giant tumor shoving their eyeball out of their head. They're not enjoying it. I don't think I would either. Fuck tard. People, will you go away? Hello?
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 Hi, my name is Nick Hazlett. I'm calling on behalf of the Lupus Foundation of America.
Yeah, well, too bad. I'm not interested. Thank you. Go. Bye. Shut up. Fuck you. Yeah, just annoying motherfucker. I get paid to harass people for money. I am an honorable human. No. It's what makes the world go round. Lying. Lying scum. So yeah, I've already been over this. I cannot make you understand feelings if you've never had them. But I've had them. I know what they are. I see them in all the other sentient organisms, and I have exactly the same reaction to these circumstances. There's no confusion. This is just such crap. Because you know this reality just as well as I do. So this is just words. You're playing with fucking words to evade a reality that you don't like. You don't like the fact that you're not special and that all the feelings have equal meaning as events. And you just can't deal with that truth. That your life isn't free.
The value, and therefore it matters, and he has no additional meaning to tell us what this means other than...
Alright, well, there's no point. Alright, like I said, I've already been over this before, okay? I don't need anything else, okay? We're talking about whether I have a right to be confident. Well, you're telling me I don't have a right to be confident based on my personal experience with sensations, and you're telling me there's no evidence of the fact that there's a huge difference between a nail in my eye and a cupcake, the sensations of those two events. I'm telling you that's an undisputable fact. You're going to keep playing this game that it's not that somehow it's a disputable fact. Fuck you. It's a false premise. I will not indulge in such a silly fantasy. It is so grotesque. It's like you just talking about some sort of, Red Riding Hood and Goldilocks in some kind of 2 women, 1 cup scenario or something. I'm totally uninterested in anything you have to fucking goddamn say, okay? Because you're too stupid to figure out something so fucking fundamental. There's really no conversation with some nihilist, motherfucking, relativist, personalist lunatic who doesn't understand that sensations are a biological function. They happen in the goddamn universe, in time and space. They are real goddamn events, and through our personal experience we know they are events that are value tainted. It is undeniably value tainted. And you're just being a nihilist, lousy, evasive cunt to keep playing this motherfucking game and keep pretending you're making something called a logical argument. And this is the last response I will make to you on this subject until you acknowledge this simple truth that I do not have any obligation to prove that there is a fundamental qualitative difference between the sensations associated with a nail in the eye and the sensations associated with eating a cupcake. I will not have a conversation with any goddamn motherfucking cunt douchebag who thinks there's any jar I can put those 2 sensations in that somehow those 2 sensations are ever equal. You are a psychotic fucking lying kook. Fuck off.